Hello everyone, welcome to Sportstagator. On this video, I'm going to predict the top 10 teams that could win Super Bowl 54. Please don't forget to subscribe and share this video with friends and family. The Green Bay Packers. In the offseason, they hired Matt LaFleur as head coach of the Green Bay Packers, and he brings a strong offensive history in his career. His last coaching job was with the Tennessee Titans as an offensive coordinator in 2018. The Green Bay Packers haven't had a top 10 defense since they won the Super Bowl back on February 6th of 2011. And Aaron Rodgers also won MVP award in that Super Bowl too. But they haven't had a great defense since then, especially the last couple of seasons. They have some new key free agents to their new look defense, naming Adrian Amos and Darius Smith, who is listed as the 16th best free agent on the market. They also signed Preston Smith too. They even drafted defensive linebacker Rashawn Gary out of Michigan to help their defense even more. On their offense, they signed tight end Marcedes Lewis and also re-signed wide receiver Geronimo Allison too. They have drafted some new key players on their offense, naming Elton Jenkins and offensive lineman from Mississippi State, and also drafting tight end Jace Sternberger from Texas A&M. That could help the Green Bay Packers get back to the playoffs and maybe a Super Bowl appearance too. The Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts had a great season by making the playoffs for the first time since the 2014 season, when they went 11-5 and lost in the AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots. The Colts entered free agency this year with the most cap space in the NFL. Instead of going on a spending spree, GM Chris Ballard was very wise. The Colts made just 2 signings of note, one on each side of the ball. They both involve veteran players coming on short-term deals. The best free agent they signed in the offseason is Justin Houston. They are a young team that is definitely a playoff contender and a Super Bowl contender too. The Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns had a really busy offseason, and which has the fans really ready for the 2019 season to begin. In their last 8 games of last season, they stretched a record of 5-3 in those final 8 games to close out the 2018 season. It's hard to blame anyone for wanting their team to not be back on the field. Their final record for the 2018 season was 7-8-1. John Dorsey overhauled the roster with roughly 60% of the team being changed out. He also eliminated the losing culture by firing head coach Hugh Jackson in the 2018 season. While he made tons of progress in just one offseason, he understood that there was more work to get done. John Dorsey signed Sheldon Richardson on a 3-year deal worth $36 million, with 21 of that guaranteed. That was a great underappreciated move by John Dorsey. The Cleveland Browns defense ended up being ranked 30th in yards surrendered and 21st in points per game. They were especially bad against the run, giving up 135.2 yards per game, which landed them at 28th in the league. That's why they decided to come to terms with defensive tackle Sheldon Richardson. The Cleveland Browns selected cornerback Greedy Williams in the 2nd round of the NFL draft, and that was a great pick. The Cleveland Browns as a whole finished with just 37 sacks, which landed them in a tie for 22nd in the NFL. So to address this issue, they went out and struck a deal with the New York Giants for defensive end Olivier Vernon. When Hugh Jackson was fired after the Browns' first 8 games of the season, Greg Williams became the interim head coach for the final 8 games of the 2018 season and left with a winning record with the Browns. Their new head coach of the Cleveland Browns is Freddie Kitchens, who was a previous runner-back coach and then promoted to offensive coordinator. He was credited to the improvement of the Browns' offense and Baker Mayfield becoming a successful rookie quarterback who was a runner-up for NFL Rookie of the Year award. Because of his success, that's why he became head coach of the Cleveland Browns. The best offseason move for the Cleveland Browns was trading for Odell Beckham Jr. from the New York Giants. I suspect the Cleveland Browns are going to have a deep run in the playoffs and maybe a Super Bowl appearance too.
The Los Angeles Chargers.
The Los Angeles Chargers made the playoffs last season for the first time since the 2013 season when they went 9-7. In last season, their record was 12-4 and eventually losing to the New England Patriots 41-28. The Chargers GM Tom Telesco stated earlier this year that one of the biggest priorities of the Chargers was to focus on the linebacker core this offseason. It was absolutely no surprise that the Chargers' first move in the offseason was to target that positional group. They signed veteran linebacker Thomas Davis, former Carolina Panther, to a 2-year deal worth $10.5 million. The one downfall with Thomas Davis is that he hasn't played a full season since 2016 and has a history of injuries including 3 ACL injuries. I completely understand why some fans aren't that happy, but one of the great things he could do is have a great presence in an already strong locker room. Overall, this was a solid signing by the Chargers. They even signed quarterback Tyrod Taylor as a backup to Phillip Rivers. He is the most competent backup for Phillip Rivers since the 2011 season with Billy Volek. Since then, the Chargers have rolled out a bunch of misfits since then. The Los Angeles Chargers are for sure a real threat for a Super Bowl appearance and maybe even winning it too.
The Chicago Bears.
The Chicago Bears had a really great season, but had an early exit in the playoffs last year against the Eagles. The Chicago Bears defense is their strength, and Khalil Mack is the leader of that defense. And their offense is pretty good too, but their weakness on their team is the kicking game. They did have an interesting offseason this year by letting go of some good players in free agency on offense and defense. They even cut ties with Jordan Hayward and then traded him to the Eagles. The reason why they traded him was because he had trouble running between the tackles and he couldn't run to the outside. So he wasn't a threat in the passing game either. And he also was not a good fit in their head coach's system either. So that's why they traded him to the Eagles. So that left the Chicago Bears with a hole to fill in the backfield. They selected David Montgomery from Ohio State in the 3rd round of NFL draft to fill in that hole. He would fit in so much better for their head coach's offense. The best free agent they signed in the offseason was on their defense, naming HaHa Clinton, who is a safety. After the Bears watched safety Adrian Amos sign a deal with a rival Green Bay Packers in free agency. So they were left with a hole to fill in the back end of their defense. So they signed HaHa Clinton to a 1-year deal worth $3.5 million. I definitely think the Chicago Bears are going to be a threat for a deep playoff run and maybe a Super Bowl appearance too.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
The Philadelphia Eagles weren't as good in the 2018 season with a record of 9-7 compared to the season before when they won the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots. Their record was 13-3. The Philadelphia Eagles have one of the busiest off seasons in the NFL. They did lose some great players, naming Nick Foles, Golden Tate, Jordan Hicks, Michael Bennett, who was traded to the New England Patriots on the first day of free agency. They did add some new free agents, naming Deshaun Jackson, Malik Jackson, Vinny Curley, and DJ Fort. They even traded for Jordan Hayward from the Chicago Bears. He will fit perfectly in with the Eagles. The best offseason move for the Eagles was retaining Brandon Graham, who seemed like he was leaving the Eagles in free agency. But the two sides were able to strike a deal to keep the Super Bowl hero in Philadelphia for the next 3 seasons. Their offense will be top 5 in NFL, and their defense will be pretty good too. My prediction is that they will be Super Bowl contenders for the 2019 season, and maybe could win the Super Bowl too.
The Los Angeles Rams.
The Los Angeles Rams have had a fabulous season last year. They did go to the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots and losing 13-3. Even though they lost, it was still a good season for the Rams. The Rams have played relatively safe this offseason when compared to moves they've made in 2018, when they made several trades for big-name players. In this year's offseason, they made calculated moves that frees up cap space by moving on from veteran players and adding proven players at positions of need. I was surprised that the Rams let Ndamukong Suh walk in free agency and sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I'm also not surprised too because Ndamukong Suh was thought to be a one-year rental with the Rams. They re-signed Dante Flowers Jr. to a one-year deal worth $14 million. They also signed free agent Clay Matthews to a 2-year contract. They also signed QB Blake Bortles to a one-year deal worth $1 million. The best 2 free agents the Rams signed this offseason is Blake Bortles on a 1-year contract worth $1 million. And the very best free agent they signed is safety Eric Weddle to a 2-year contract. Their offense will be great again, and their defense will be too. They will be for sure Super Bowl contenders and perhaps could win Super Bowl 54.
The New England Patriots.
The New England Patriots won Super Bowl 53 against the Los Angeles Rams with a final score of 13-3. The Patriots have lost one of the best tight ends in the game, naming Rob Gronkowski, who retired on March 24th of 2019 after 9 seasons in the NFL, and he retired at the age of 29 years old. In the NFL draft, they drafted defensive end Chase Winovich in the 3rd round of the NFL draft from Michigan. In the offseason, they did sign Jamie Collins, who has spent his first 4 seasons in the NFL with the New England Patriots. They also traded for Michael Bennett, who fills a hole in their roster that Trey Flowers left behind. Their offense is not going to be as great without Rob Gronkowski, but still will be pretty good. Their defense will be great too, but overall I think there is a pretty good chance that they could win back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. But it hasn't been done since Super Bowl 38 and Super Bowl 39 when the Patriots won both of those Super Bowls in 2004 and 2005.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
The Kansas City Chiefs are no exception. They have made plenty of moves this offseason. The Chiefs did let go of a lot of veteran players in the offseason, naming Dee Ford, Steven Nelson, Justin Houston, and Eric Berry. But the Chiefs did manage to replace those players with Tyrann Mathieu, Frank Clark, Bashaud Breeland, and Alex Okafor. The players the Kansas City Chiefs require are for the most part young players who fought better in the new scheme. Frank Clark and Dee Ford had the same sack numbers last season, but Frank Clark is more naturally fit in Steve Spagnuolo's base 4-3. I do think their offense will be the strength of the team, but their defense will be good too. I definitely think the Kansas City Chiefs will have a fabulous season and could win Super Bowl 54.
The New Orleans Saints.
The New Orleans Saints had a fabulous season, but ended short of the Super Bowl because of a no call on a blatant pass interference from cornerback nickel Robbie Coleman. I would say that the New Orleans Saints will have no doubt the biggest chip on their shoulders in the 2019 season and are looking for blood. One of the key moves for the Saints was signing free agent running back Latavius Murray, formerly of the Oakland Raiders and the Minnesota Vikings. He is 6'3", 230 pounds, looks more like a middle linebacker than a runner back. But the key free agent the Saints signed in the offseason was tight end Jared Cook, who seems to be getting better and better with age. Last season, he set a career mark with 101 targets and 68 receptions this past season in Oakland, and also set a career high with 896 yards and 6 touchdowns. Their offense will be fabulous, and their defense will be good too. I would definitely say that they have the best chance of winning Super Bowl 54 after what happened to them last season against the Rams.
Who do you guys think has the best chance to win Super Bowl 54? Leave your comments below and tell me what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching Sportstagator. Please subscribe and share this video with friends and family. And don't forget to just keep loving sports, and I'll see you next time.